So let me start off by saying thanks for joining us on the first of our webinar series. And this is sort of number one in our webinar series. And we're going to follow it up with number two, which is going to be Simco DNC. That's on May 3rd. Then number three, the Simco NC base, that's on May 24th. And then rounding it out, then on number four is the Simco MDM, that's June 7th. So I see quite a few people that signed up for this one have signed up for the other few. And by all means, feel free if you find this one interesting and you want to learn about the other ones. Don't forget to register for those as well independently. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get going. Everybody should have this this widget here on their screen. It's if you don't see it, then likely the orange arrow is pointing the other direction. So you just click on that and you get to see the widget. In that widget, there's there's a questions tab where you can type questions. So feel free to type a question as we go. Everybody's muted by default. Otherwise, we'd have the shop noise in the background. So the way we can answer the questions is you can type it in. At the end, maybe we can flip it on and the audio on independently for each person if they'd rather just ask the question. Just to make sure that everybody is can hear okay and is not having any issues, if you could click the little hand button in your widget and just raise your hand, and we'll get a good indication that everyone is seeing everything and hearing everything okay. And I'm seeing a few hands, so that's great. Appreciate that, everyone. You can toggle it back off if you like. That's good to know that everybody's in. So we're just moving on here. Just quickly let everyone know that this is being recorded and we can share it out. Today we're going to focus on the edit intro, and it's myself and my partner in crime, Andre. Yes. And I guess we could maybe flip on our camera for 2 seconds here, Andre, and just say hello to everybody.
Yep. Give me a moment.
Thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate it.
Just wrong camera. Hold on.
It's a lot easier with the webcam off. Thanks for joining everyone.
Yeah. It's just not using the good webcam. There we go. Should be better now.
Excellent.
You can see my nice office. There we
go. Great to see Andre on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally.
You can flip that off now. Perfect. So just a little bit of heads up. Some of you may be aware, maybe not, but Simco 2024 was released March 4th. So folks that are on active Simco maintenance, it is available to you. If you're on, say, an older version, 23, 22, or Simco V8, and you feel like updating, you do have the ability to do that. Depending on your setup and the products that you have, maybe reach out to support first. Obviously backing up your system, it would be important before making that switch. And you can run them side by side. But yeah, if you haven't updated and you're interested, reach out to support and just run it through with them, and they'll give you some assistance and guidance on how to do it. Certain systems might require an on-site, depending on how many machines you have, say if you're running a Simco DNC. But yeah, please reach out to support and we can get you going if you're interested in making the leap and going to 2024. So I've got a little bit of a screenshot here on what the list is Simco standard, but we kind of call that Simco OEM, or the free version that comes installed with your master cam. On the right-hand side is the CIMCO Edit Pro, and that's what we're going to be focusing in on today, is the Edit Pro. And you can see, obviously, there's quite a few more options available to you in the Edit Pro. I'm not going to go through this list. It would take me way too long, but you've got a visual and you can see what's going on. And Andre will be showing us some of the key features that are available with the Edit Pro as we go through on this webinar. If you're a Mastercam user, you do have the ability to do what we call the Simco OEM upgrade. And we just utilize your SIM number for that. And it's a bit of a discount, shall we say, that's attached to it as opposed to just buying CIMCO Edit Pro on its own. Some of the features here, again, it's a big list. I'm not going to go through it, but just want to kind of pick out some of the newer features that some people maybe haven't had the ability to utilize or see or even know about. But again, quite an extensive list there of some of the key features. Give a quick second if everyone's reading through that. Okay. And then just some of the new and improved features that have happened over the last couple of releases, and then the 24 release. Again, quite a large list here, but some of the key things: support for military and CNY access functionality. You have the ability to download some machines if you're looking about getting into the machine sim aspect. Quite a few new and improved features in there. Just wanted to touch on the machine simulation. I guess before I get into this too far, this is obviously something that you can do with the CIMCO Edit, but CIMCO Edit by itself is essentially sort of the stepping stone or the backbone of everything to do with CIMCO. Everything, if you're a customer that's already utilizing CIMCO DNC as an example, you would have CIMCO Edit. So if I was to liken it to an example would be, say, Mastercam Design. Mastercam Design comes with everything. It's the backbone. If you have Mastercam Mill, you have Mastercam Design. So CIMCO Edit works like that. Everything is built on top of it. So the DNC utilizes the CIMCO Edit and the CIMCO Edit interface, and DNC runs through that. Same thing with NC Base and MDM. Everything is built off of the CIMCO Edit Pro. So one of the things that Andre is going to dive into here is the ability to do machine simulation. He'll touch on that. There is an option to do CIMCO, the machine simulation with NCI and also with G-code. And then the last thing I think that Andre is going to touch on is the CIMCO Edit Verify. So what this is, I guess one way to explain it is it's Verify that you're used to in Mastercam, but it's outside of it. It runs inside of its own little standalone. And it can be, if you've got really in-depth programs, lots of operations, the CIMCO Verify can move pretty quickly. And Andre will have an example of that. So if you're doing, this example that's on the screen, it's an 8-cavity mold, quite in depth, and you can verify this thing to completion in, let's say 5 to 10 seconds, where, sometimes Mastercam can take a little bit longer. You still get the same result. So depending on your requirements, the CIMCO Edit Verify might be something of interest. I think that's it for me. So I will pass the baton over to you, Andre, or you can grab it.
Yep. Yeah, I'll grab it and I'll share my screen to here. There we go. So can you just confirm that you're seeing my CIMCO Edit 2022 screen right now?
Yes, I see it. You're looking good.
All right, great. So for all of you guys that already use CIMCO Edit as their editor of choice when generating code from Mastercam, you will be familiar with this. I'm using the dark theme or the dark mode in here. But as you can see, those are the exact same tabs that you are currently having. So there's only the editor, NC function, file compare, and the regular single machine transmission that you can have in here. Now, if I'm gonna close this up and start up the CIMCO Edit Pro version of it, so you'll notice, well, I'm running the 2024 version, and you'll notice a few more tabs on top. So as Lee mentioned earlier, so the database tab is part of the NC Base integration of with CIMCO Edits, which is a NC file database. So we're not going to dive into this today. It's going to be part of a later webinar, but that's just what this tab is for. And you also have the option to have the DNC Max client interface embedded into the CIMCO Edit as well. So it's just, again, we're not going to talk too much about this. We're just showing you up that it's here, and we're going to dive into that in an upcoming webinar. Actually, that's the next one, if I'm not mistaken. First thing that I'm gonna show you, well, first into the editor tab, you'll notice that it's pretty much all the same thing that you're already used to see. So all the usual find and replace functionality and search for any specific command. So for example, if I'm just popping up a file in here, I can easily look for either the previous or the next tool change, and based on the language of or the type of file that you're looking for, it is already configured to know what kind of or how the tool change are going to be called. For example, for a hidden line controller, it's going to look for the tool call command line instead of just the T followed by the number with the M6 as for a Fennec style of controller. So I won't spend too much time in here because this is common to both versions. So what I am going to do is I'll go back to this empty file here and show you a nice couple functions that you have into the NC Assistant tab, which is exclusive to the CIMCO Edit Pro. One of these functions is the option that you have to either create and add, they call that macros, but it's essentially a snippet of program that you can insert automatically and quickly into any given file. So the first one that we have here is program start and end, but you have also tool change, program comment, and some other things that you have in here that are already built in. And based on the kind of controller that you're working at, you're going to have different options in here. And if I go, for example, with the standard Fennec style ISO milling program start and end, I'll just insert that macro. It's going to bring up a small pop-up here asking me to fill in some details. So, for example, CIMCO Edit Pro demo. There we go. Tool description. It's going to be like 20 millimeter flat and mill. It's going to be tool number 12, tool length offset 12. I'm going to be running at 4,000 RPM, and we're going to start at this position. Now I say OK, and it will automatically add in this header of a program with the initialization string or code, the tool change sequence with my first approach move, and the end of the file. And then I have this section here where I can just type in whatever I want as manual programming. And this is just because we're doing start and end of a program, but you could have multiple kind of sequence, like I said, either the ones that you have in here, or you can also modify those or create the ones you want. You have this little interface here where you can just add what's hard-coded and what is based on a variable that you need to request from the user input. So moving on from that, I'll just go ahead and say, well, I'm just going to go down here at let's say it's at 2 millimeter, and then G1 to -5 with a feed of 500 millimeters. And then I'll just go X 50, Y 20, X 0, Y 0, and then wrap it out at 25 here. I'll just change my feed here. There we go. So what I did, I just typed in some small manual programming here, and then from the backplot screen here, I'll be able to just pick what kind of controller or machine I'm dealing with. So I'm not going to pull up this horizontal machine. I'm just going to look at the backplot right now. So I have, well, it made it horizontal anyway. So I have this simulation here that I can have going. So I can step through it manually, or I can just run it from here with the control. And it's looking at the G-code simulation, as you can see. And you have the option with that to define your own tool libraries within the CIMCO Edit interface. There's a nice screen here where you can define either your holder, your cutters. So this is just holder. So you can have your different cutters, and then you can create some assemblies as well for both milling and turning tools if needed. And yeah, and other things that are really interesting, for example, within the NC function. So the ones that you currently have in the OEM or Mastercam embedded Simco version stops right here. So you have the options for the adding or removing block numbers, to add spaces and stuff like that. But you have all these new features in the Pro version, which allow you to either modify feed rate. So you can say, well, if the feed rate is greater than 500, put it, adjust these values when it's less than 2500, increase it by 200%. So if I say, okay, it should increase both my value 2 times, okay? And this will reflect right away in the simulation as well. Other things that we can do in here, we can do the same thing with the spindle speed. We can add simple math functions. So you can say, for example, take all the X values and add, I don't know, 25 to it. Oh, my bad, wrong button there. So you can just say, okay, I had 25 to all the X values. I say, okay. So I had 50, I had 25, I'm now at X50. So it just increased it on this one. Something else that you can do, you can flip values. So you can say, for example, I want this rectangle to be rotated 90 degrees. So I can say swap X for Y's, and then just say, okay, boom. Now it's all flipped throughout the whole file. So it's just simple stuff that we can do. We can also make some translations. So I could say shift everything here by 50 millimeter in X and 10 millimeters in Y. So now everything has been translated from my initial position. This is just a shortcut to show the Windows calculator. So it's just gonna pop up on my other screen. So easy calculator access. You have this toolpath statistic that is pretty interesting. Well, maybe not on this file because it's so easy, but you can get the minimum and maximum Z values from the file, and then you get the estimated running time for all these operations. And you can also have it make a tool list. So for example, if I go back to this file, which is a bit longer, so if I make my toolpath statistic here, so I'll get the information for all the tools, individual ones, and I also have my tool list that can be extracted from the actual tool that we have here in the current file. So, so that's for the NC function option that we have here. So let me just close this here. And something else that we can see from the NC Assistant page is the ability to set up what we call the multi-channel view. So whenever you have a machine that requires 2 different stream of code, whether they are embedded in the same file, for example, if you have an Integrex a Mazak Integrex with upper and lower turret. These machines, they have M codes that specify whether you're working on the upper or lower turret, and they are embedded into the same file, but we can split them up and see how the process is going to be happening. Or if you have them into separate files, like this one here, it's a sample from a Nakamura JX250, which has 3 turrets, so 1 V-axis head and 2 lower turret. So what I want to know is I just want to set this up. So I want to make sure I'm using the proper channel delimitation. So it's going to be using the M100 something with a p-value for the sync code. So that's all good. I'm just going to now tell Simco which file I want to use. So this is going to be part 1. This is going to be part 2. This one's going to be part 3. No new need for the number 4. I'll say okay. So now it's just going to display my 3 files, one next to each other, and then they are synchronized scrolling as well. So I can just go in and there in my file, or I could just use these button here to jump to the next wait code or sync code based on how you prefer calling them, and see what's happening between each section of my program. So that's a pretty handy tool to use, especially if you are manually editing these kind of program. This could be tricky, making sure that the sync appears at the proper time, make sure that you're not canceling any milling or turning mode before or after the sync. And then when you're done, you can just close this and it's gonna split them up again in those 3 different files. So, so that's for this. So let's jump back now into a bit more advanced stuff. So I'm gonna jump into Mastercam here and show you what Simco has called. It's the CIMCO Verify or CIMCO Edit plugin. So this here is to show you the CIMCO Verify. That's the same picture that Lee had in the PowerPoint. So it's that 8-cavity file. So those of you who know Mastercam well enough knows that if you look at those numbers here, those are the NCI file size for each of these operations. This is a pretty heavy, there's a lot of points to generate the code and to simulate in this, and running that into Mastercam would take a really, really long time. But if we just go into CIMCO Verify, it's going to pop up in here. So it's a dedicated interface here. And we have, because I had it configured with machine and stuff, so we don't have to run the machine simulation, but if we want, you can just turn it on or off. And then we can just start simulation. So you have the regular play, but if you want, we can just pause this and jump right away to the end, and boom, we're done. So it's really fast, really clean. And what is also interesting is that I can just scroll in, scroll back, and it will, if I go back into a deeper stage of the operation, it will bring back material as I go. So I can go back and forth as long as I want, and it will bring back material or remove material depending on which direction I'm going. And you have the same option here. So this is my simulation speed, but I can also go in reverse. So if I just go like that and say go reverse, so you'll see material coming back in as we go. So it's pretty interesting. Also, what is neat is you have these box of information where you have the position of the tool, of course, and status of the operation, and some information that has been gathered from Mastercam. But you also have this summary or list of operation, and you can jump right at the beginning of each of them just like that and see the result updating live to be ready to run at this this sequence there. It's ready to go. Jumping in. So, and again, you have these options to either show or not the older, show the tool, color coding and stuff like that. So you can control all of this. You want to see the operation list or not. You have the axis control here, which you can play with. And if I'm running simulation, going fast a bit, but it's a bit of 5-axis machining sequence. There you go. So it's definitely much faster than what we have in Mastercam right now. So when you have huge files, so we're talking mainly people doing intense 5-axis machining, mold makers as well. Pretty good, pretty interesting option to be considering. So if I turn this down right now, I'm going to look up at a different file. So for example, I can pull this one out. So just to let you know that that Simco Verify and Machine Simulation also supports turning machine. So it's going to extract the information from Mastercam. As with regards to the tooling, locators had been obviously previously set in some of the part of the interface, but same process as the milling. So you'll see the simulation going on with milling, interpolation, engraving, and same feature as before. So if I'm just going back, I'll see material coming back on the part right away. So, so that's another feature of that. And last sample I have here, as I'm going to use a different option from the plugin, is I'm going to run the CIMCO Edit. And just so that we're clear, I'm just going to show you quickly this here. This is all good. So I'll just turn it off and have that plugin run through. So what this will do is it will automatically post the code with the Mastercam post that we have selected here, and then launch the editor the same way as we would normally do within the regular Mastercam and standalone OEM version. But then it will also launch the machine simulation or the backlog if I choose it to. So now what I have as an issue here, right now we can see it's being flipped because it's an horizontal machine. So I'm just gonna flip this up by 90 degree. This, flip the workpiece as well. And flip the stock to go along. There we go. And everything else. So you can see it track the G54, G55, and so on. So if I get back to the beginning and just let it go, now we're simulating the G code as we go right now.
So Andre, just to quickly clarify, the Simco Verify is when it's similar to the Mastercam backplot and Verify, it is using the NCI code, whereas now what you're showing is the Simco machine simulation, which is one step further and is now actually simulating the machine utilizing the posted G code.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. So this is using the Simco's interpretation of the actual G code that we see flying by on the left side, as opposed to the other screen I was into, which was the Simco verifier, which only behaves same. It simulates the same thing as the Mastercam verify, only just faster.
Perfect, thanks.
And unless I'm mistaken, I think I've shown most of the things that I wanted to talk about. Lee, is there anything else you're thinking that you want me to talk about?
No, I think that's good. That covers sort of the gist of everything. Obviously, we would, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to type them in. Or if you prefer, I can unmute you, so you can just put your hand up, and I can unmute you, and you can ask a question. But I think it, really kind of covers it well. I mean, when you're doing something like a verification or simulation, I guess the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. You're seeing it on the screen, so you can't really, there's not too much more to it. But I think it just gives everybody a real good idea on what's out there, what's available, and where they could potentially utilize it or not.
Okay, so we have a question here from Chris saying, if I have a pro license, how do I get the plugin? So the plugin is available from the CIMCO Verify website.
Yeah, they have there's a 30-day trial available, and I believe you are correct. It is CIMCO Verify. I'll just quickly check to make sure.
That's the web page here. So that's the CIMCO Verify. Then you in the download, you have the that's the whole CIMCO Verify stuff. But I think the other, like the link within Mastercam, I would need to dig it out. You still have my download stuff. CIMCO Verify. No, I think that's the only thing. Yeah, that's the thing. You have the plugin, software manager. No, that's all.
Yeah, the install itself will when you do install that, it creates the taskbar inside of Mastercam automatically. Yeah,
exactly. Yes, but I thought the taskbar was also available just for the CIMCO Edit. Oh no, they removed that. Yeah, that's it. Because you back in the day, you had the option to have this run CIMCO Edit in there, and it would automatically post and open it up into CIMCO Edit instead of you having to post it and then set it up otherwise. So it was saving one step. The other question, how user-friendly is it to set up the machine simulation? So once you have this up and rolling, when you go into your Simco configuration, so I'll just close this, open this up. So the actual machine configuration, it's pretty straightforward. So you have this 3-base this structure here. So you just basically add either geometry or add a rotary axis or spindles or whatever you need to add in there. And then you can link up STLs of your 3D models, set up your limits, your feed rate limits, center of rotation, and so on. And then you get to preview the actual machine. It's going to pop up in a different screen here, and then you can jog the axis and see if you've done things right or not. You will also have some control over based on the control type. So there's an intensive list here. So you have some going from Fager, Fanuc, Haas, Mazak, Eidenhain, Siemens, Mitsubishi, Okuma, and along with all the other legacy controller that we used to have in there. And for each of those different controller, you have a few control settings that will impact the way the simulation is going to occur. So if I go here, for example, for Akuma, so I'll have different option than what I had for billing and so on. So you have different setting here. So those are basically the only settings that you have that we can play with in terms of NC NC file interpretation, but you have full access to the actual machine building stuff. You can create the machine you want. It's not fairly complicated. It's pretty similar to most of the other machine simulation packages that you can find.
There is, Andre, there's a few machines that, like as far as the machine models go, that Simco comes sort of pre-installed with, if you could touch on that.
Yes.
But the main thing, the key thing with setting up machine sim, obviously, is having the models first and foremost. HOS models are readily available on the web, the internet. So that's why you'll see HOS models available. And then Simco has created their own. And then outside of that, you would need to acquire, just like any other machine sim out there, you need to have access to those models. And I mean, of course, users can set this stuff up themselves, but it can be complex, and it is a service that we do offer to configure that and set it up for you if you're not so inclined. But by all means, you do have a bit of a library to sort of start things off, and then you can kind of create things there. But of course, it is something that we can assist you with.
Yeah, like Lee mentioned, we have like the list of Simco generic machines. So it goes with pretty various or pretty wide range of machine based on different type of configuration. There's also a few DMGs, Doosan, Haas machine, and some routers that are coming in embedded with the Simco product. As for Greg's question about the Mastercam tool, they will be imported automatically if you use the plugin here. So if you're using the Simco Verify add-on and just run the Simco Edit option with the machine sim, it will automatically load up the tool that you have defined within Mastercam automatically. So if I go in here, we should see, so those are the 3 tools assembly that we had in Mastercam. So they are loaded with description and all the information needed. But if you're not going through the plugin, you will have to define your tool yourself within the CIMCO Edit interface. Do you have any videos, tutorials on how to set up the machines? Not yet, not that I know of. But that may be something that we can look forward to if there's high enough demand or request about it.
Yeah, maybe potentially might be some documents on like Simco's website themselves. I'm not aware of any at this point in time because I believe Simco is the same thing. They offer it as a service to set it up. But there may be some documentation within the machine sim itself. I don't know if there's a bit of a help menu, Andre, that dives into it or not. Like Mastercam, I know, if you're looking for something specific, you could do a search or not, but that's certainly something that we could see if it is by chance available. We can let you know, Chris.
Yeah.
Any improvements done on tool statistics in Pro version?
Yeah, I was wondering, like, what kind of improvement are you referring to or looking for? Tool change time is in second, and tool set to find part cycle time. We use it. Yeah, the tool change time is in second. Yes. So you'll need to time out your your actual tool change sequence to see how long it's going to take. So it's obviously it's an approximate based on if you have a swing arm, like a swing arm kind of tool changer, it's usually pretty accurate because the tool is already prepared before the tool change. If you have a umbrella type, it's more going to be like a rounding stuff or rounding of the time it's going to take for it to go. But yeah, it's just it's usually always in second. But there's not much more to it. So whenever you go into the setup for that, it's going to be part of some information. So what's going to be considered as tool change information, feed rate, stuff like that. There's no option for example, to set, for example, acceleration, deceleration stuff. So that's not part of it as of now. No, not I don't see anything about that. Custom macros to edit. Of course, one thing that I didn't touch base on. This backplot editor supports the use of macro B type logic and also Heidenine or Siemens way of doing parametric programming. But you can also have these in the NCS system. You can have your own macro, like I've shown you. You can use the ones that are already there, but you can also either modify or add a new macro right in here and just say, I want to add a new one, give it a name, and start putting whatever information or sequence that you want to be able to add in automatically. I'm not sure if that's what you wanted to refer to, Greg. As part of the most useful part of CIMCO Edit, so what makes it stand out from the others? Speaking for myself, the ease of use, the speed at which it filters out the G code and shows the resulting shows the changes resulting in the backplot right away is pretty straightforward, really easy to see. So if I go back to my backplot tab here, I want to simulate that. I'll just open up another file, not this one. Here. That's my file here. So I have this small file here, so that's going to be done on a 3-axis. And so I have my simulation going here. So anywhere I can come in here and say, well, I want to change my start point, or I want to change anything in here. So let's put this a really big number so that we can see the difference. So I can see right away my tool. Oh, I'm in matrix. Guess what? Let's put 500. To remove the enter here, so you can see right away it's live. It's always looking at the current code, so it's pretty fast and intuitive in terms of how it's going to be working. It also color codes automatically the yes, Chris, hold on a second. Okay, you are unmuted, but I think you are also self-muted.
Yeah, he's self-muted. I think the key thing for with Chris's question is sort of CIMCO Edit as a base is, obviously we've shown sort of CIMCO Edit as a base, what it can do, the backplot, the functionality, all of those things, as a whole is sort of one thing. And then we've shown CIMCO Edit with Verify, and then we've shown CIMCO Edit with Machine Sim. So we've kind of shown three different things, but CIMCO Edit at a base point is, from everything that I've understood in the industry and even other CAM softwares, they all have some form of CIMCO OEM or light version embedded. It's sort of, I guess, the industry standard, if you will. But if we were comparing it, I guess that might be a good question, Chris. If you're comparing it to other editors, and what other editors might you be talking about? Potentially the Mastercam One, things like that.
Yeah, I've used the Predator before, and I found it quite good, but that was quite some time ago.
Yeah. Yes. I myself don't have any familiarity with Predator. I don't know, Andre, if you have, but I think
it's been a while.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in this situation, I think it's almost like we can only show sort of what we've got and the tools that we use. I think most folks are either using the onboard Mastercam editor or the OEM Simco that comes with it. But was there something specific that you were looking for, Chris? Like maybe that you remember from Predator that maybe potentially, is something.
Okay. Are you able to show a DNC on more than two machines at once?
Not well. You are able to send program to multiple machines, but only one at a time with the Simco Edit.
So my memory says that the Predator would do two at least at the same time.
Yeah, we can do that, but with the DNC Max package.
Yeah,
I see.
That would be sort of Simco DNC, which again would be editor, and then what happens is then you've got the DNC added onto it. So it's quite possible that potentially the company that you were at before with Predator had a full Predator DNC solution.
Okay, so I'm getting ahead of you. That's a later lesson.
Yes.
Yeah, actually,
that's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. That is the next one for sure. And you will see, if you join us, you'll see everything that Andre is going to show in DNC is going to be this exact same interface, and then it's just going to be that DNC tab aspect. And then DNC is a lot more, obviously. If you're doing, I would say, if you're two or more machines, or if you have the need to be sending and receiving to multiple machines, that's when you start to look at the DNC as the next level option above what Simco Edit can do. Even with the Simco OEM version, you can set up several machines, from a transmission standpoint. But it kind of limits out there.
Yes.
With the DNC, then that's when you can start doing so much more too. You can be doing the remote request. So the operator at the machine can be pulling, like type in a code and actually pull that program down with no interaction with the programming department. No need to walk to a central computer, get your control ready, walk over, send it, do all those sorts of things. Is sort of the next level with the DNC. And of course, drip feeding 10, 20 lines at a time, if that's a requirement, things like that. Okay,
I'll reserve that for the later webinar, and we'll cross that bridge when it comes.
Okay, so thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time. And as we mentioned, the Simco DNC, which builds up on the Simco Edit and the communication standpoint, is our next webinar. As a reminder, that's on May 3rd. And if you wanted to join in, you do have to register that independently, and that was in the email that I sent out. So each of the webinars has their own registration link. So feel free to join us. We'd like to see you there. But that's it. I don't see any other questions. So thank you, Andre. I really appreciate you showing this today, and thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you at the next one.